In a quaint little village, nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery, there lived a notorious thief named Oliver. While his deeds were known far and wide, he wasn't your typical criminal. Oliver had a heart of gold, and despite his unlawful profession, he only stole from the wealthy merchants and corrupt officials who exploited the poor. Every night, when the moon hung low in the sky, Oliver would venture into the shadows. Wearing a dark cloak to conceal his identity, he'd slip through the streets like a ghost, leaving no trace behind. His nimble fingers would pick locks with ease, and his heart would guide him to the deserving targets. One fateful evening, as Oliver prepared to embark on another mission, he overheard the sobbing of a child. Following the sound, he discovered a young girl named Lily, huddled by a dimly lit alley. Her clothes were tattered, and hunger gnawed at her frail frame. Approaching her with cautious steps, Oliver sat down beside Lily, offering her a loaf of bread he had intended to bring as his evening meal. As she devoured the simple sustenance, tears in her eyes, the compassionate thief learned about her plight. Lily had lost her parents, and she was all alone, struggling to survive on the streets. Moved by her story, Oliver couldn't turn his back on her. He made a bold decision that night to take care of Lily as if she were his own family. He rented a small, secluded cottage on the outskirts of the village, where they could live without attracting much attention. From then on, each night, after his thieving escapades, he would bring his spoils home, sharing his ill-gotten gains with Lily and other impoverished families in the village. As time passed, word of the compassionate thief spread among the villagers. Some felt conflicted about the idea of a criminal who also gave back to the community, while others saw him as a symbol of justice in a world of inequality. Even the local law enforcement was divided, torn between capturing the thief and acknowledging the good he brought to the downtrodden. Yet, the corrupt officials weren't pleased with the decrease in their wealth, and they plotted to capture the compassionate thief and make an example of him. One night, as Oliver returned from a mission, he found the cottage surrounded by guards, their torches illuminating the darkness. Lily was scared, clutching onto Oliver's cloak. But instead of fleeing, he made a surprising move. Oliver stepped out of the cottage, hands raised, surrendering himself to the guards. He didn't want Lily to get hurt, and he knew he had to protect her at all costs. The corrupt officials celebrated their victory, parading Oliver through the streets like a trophy of their prowess. But the villagers were outraged, and protests erupted, demanding his release. The compassionate thief had touched their lives, and they were not willing to let him go without a fight. In the face of this resistance, the corrupt officials realized that they had underestimated the power of compassion. With mounting pressure, they eventually set Oliver free, fearing an uprising if they didn't yield to the people's demands. From that day forth, the compassionate thief continued his nightly escapades, not only helping the poor, but inspiring others to do the same. Gradually, the village transformed, and the gap between the rich and the destitute narrowed. Oliver's legend grew, not as a criminal, but as a symbol of empathy and justice. He taught everyone that true compassion could change lives and the world, even if it meant challenging the norms and risking personal freedom. And as he faded into the shadows, he left behind a legacy of kindness that would be told in the hearts of the villagers for generations to come.